Hi everyone, my name is Shangrila and I'm a grade 11 student here at TGS. And today I'll be presenting to you my master project, Everywhere and Nowhere. Um, to give you a bit of a context, mastery projects here at TGS is a year-long project that's interest-driven, and it usually starts at the start of every school year. So as this is the beginning term of the school year, my mastery project was actually launched not too long ago. So today I'm going to be talking to you a bit about like the initial stage of my project. Okay, so to start with, I really love cetaceans. Cetaceans are basically a collective name of dolphins, whales, and porpoises. And I have to say that from a very young age, those have been my favorite species of animals. Something else I really also like is animal behavior. So, as a lot of you probably know, cetaceans are incredibly smart species. And because of that, there's actually a lot of intersections between marine mammal study and behavioral science. There are some examples on the screen here. Would anyone like to guess what's on the left side of the screen? Yes, Oliver. Correct. So here on the left side, we have orcas, pictures of orcas, but they're not just that. Those are photo IDs of orcas. You can see that there's their dorsal fin and the eye patches. Those are the unique part of orca whales. They're like human fingerprints. They help scientists identify the individuals within an orca population and track them down to monitor their behavior. And then on the right side here, we have an image of collective locational data that helps scientists to monitor whale movements and the dynamics of like pods in general in the region. So, oh, no. As you can probably already tell, there's a lot to look into the field of marine mammal study, behavioral. But this is actually quite a relatively new study, a field of study, because in the past years, we have not gotten a lot of chance to collect those observation data because most cetaceans spend the majority of their life underwater, and we can only see them when they come up to the surface to breathe, and that usually doesn't take too long. But recently, as more GPS and locational tracking data technologies are developed, it's easier and easier for scientists to be able to locate those groups of animals and actually get a chance to encounter them and observe them and to get that data. Additionally, some new technologies and methods have been developed in this field, such as the aerial observation. So when we're talking about aerial observation, we mean that we send out the drone to film right above those orca pods. So not only that we can see them even when they're under the water surface, but also we can get a more wide view of how each individual interacts with one another in a pod. And something else I'd also like to mention regarding marine mammal behavior is commercial whale watching industry. So right now, commercial whale watching is one of the only ways we can actually get in touch with the species out on the sea. And this is a very crucial factor for human and whale interaction. However, there's actually not been a lot of studies done on the matter that how commercial whale watching have been influencing marine mammal behavior either directly or indirectly, which is why I wanted to plan out a research-oriented project specifically on this subject of study. So while I was investigating some further information on commercial whale watching and its relationship with marine mammal behavior, here are some interesting things that I found out. So first of all, the policy in the area. So here in Vancouver, the ocean that's closest to us is called the Sailor Sea. And regarding the Sailor Sea orcas, local government has a really strict policies on how vessels are supposed to behave when they see an orca. So whenever there is an orca whale within 1 kilometer of distance, vessels are supposed to slow down and also turn off their engine and not supposed to like further approach the orca whales. They're also supposed to raise that British Columbia whale warning flag to let other people know that there's a whale in the area. However, an existing problem with that is that there's a big variance in the compliance of vessels for people who encounter the whales actually. And a great model of such compliance actually is the commercial whale watching companies. So research have been showing that commercial whale watching are actively reducing vessel incidents in the vicinity of whales by demonstrating a sentinel effect to positively influence privately owned vessels. And in the past, humans have always perceived human and whale interactions in a negative way. However, I think studies like this shows that there could be the positive side of things, and through this mastery project, I would like to look for information on both sides and get a holistic view of the subject matter. Something else that I was also inspired to focus on during this mastery project is different communicative strategies on transmitting scientific information. So during my last year here at TGS, one thing that I learned about is that communicating science doesn't always have to be a research paper. There's hundreds of millions of times that I got really inspired of guest speaker coming over to talk to us about natural stewardship, and even more so when I visit museums or wildlife sites that I get really encouraged and urged to learn more about the planet that we live on. Which is why I'm really wanting to experiment with different mediums of communication and see how that targets different audiences, like audience group, while I'm transmitting that scientific study. So after all that thought process, I finally was able to develop my driving question for this mastery project. How can I communicate the result of my own study into the impact of commercial whale watching on marine mammals to a scientific/non-scientific audience? My driving question is broken into two parts. One part focusing more on the marine mammal behavior side, and the other part focusing on that scientific communication method. So, now that I finally launched my mastery project, what is it that I could actually do? So in this past term, I've been trying to enhance my background knowledge on marine mammal behaviors and study, and I've been reading a lot of research papers to attempt to enhance my knowledge, and also taking some courses from the local research institutions. I've also gotten a really amazing opportunity to go on this whale watching trip here in Vancouver and to get some of that firsthand experience. And as for the communication part of my mastery, I've been taking a lot of courses on communicative strategy. And also right now, I would like to make you all a part of my learning process. And if you have any feedbacks, feel free to talk to me after the presentation. And I would like to tell you a short little anecdote from my whale watching trip 3 weeks ago. So this is Geometry. It is a humpback whale that we happened to see during our last whale watching trip. And as a lot of you may already know, humpback whales are migratory species. They bob between feeding grounds and breeding grounds every year. And here you can see that Geometry here actually goes all the way down to Maui every year and then swim all the way back up to Vancouver. The northernmost that it got to is the northern half of Vancouver Island. And that's really cool. Like, see how long it has to travel every year. It has to make such a long trip. And you might be wondering that, where does this large span of distance locational data come from? Well, I can tell you that those data come from a citizen science program called Happy Whales. And this program allows people to upload encountering pictures onto a website and collect a tremendously large data set. And this program is actually currently very much promoted by local commercial whale watching companies. And by getting more and more people involved into this project, observation could happen practically at everywhere and any time. Programs like this not only makes people more passionate about learning marine biology, but also opens up the boundaries for scientific research, allowing everyone to have the power of science in their hands. And I guess that's also the goal of my mastery. By doing this mastery, I would not only like to learn more about the subject that I'm interested in, but also encourage people to love the species that I love. And that is a glance of my mastery project. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for showcase. Thank you.